Welcome back to the Two Dudes, Three Legs podcast with your hosts, Zac Dingy,
Tony, Romulus.
Julius Caesar the third. Tony.
No, I'm going to ask you. Hey, Zach. I got one question for you today. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Oh, you fucking gonna be famous.
Guys are looking sharp.
Zac Dingy.
Tony
Two
Capoletti.
Dudes, Three Legs podcast where we share business tips, interview experts.
And travel the world.
This week on Two Dudes, Three Legs.
I haven't thought about it in years, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
I would say, realistically, I'm thinking about it once a week.
That's it?
Legitimately thinking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it crosses my mind more, and we'll add in picture of me. I have a Spartan tattooed on my rib, and I have Marcus Aurelius tattooed on my thigh. So I have two basically main pieces of Rome tattooed on me, and they're my biggest pieces and probably my best pieces as well.
They're dope.
So
dope tattoos.
I guess if you put that in there, like every day I look in the mirror after the shower and I see my tattoo, so twice a day I think about it. But in reality, like how
you
much
really
do I
think about
actually think? Like, ooh,
What makes
Roman
you
Empire.
think about it?
it's just the most. First of all, it's the most badass civilization I think ever, and I think men are just wired to love that kind of stuff because it's where we come from, and that's what I think when you think about the manliest we've ever been and the most masculine was Rome. We took care of our women. We fought in fucking battles. We expanded. We were conquering fucking everything, and we were just being what a typical man was supposed to be at the time. We were the epitome of a man. Like when you think of a Spartan, is there anything more manly than a Spartan?
No. But Spartans,
And here's
are
the
also
other part
Greek.
to it too, is that
Spartans are not from the
Yeah,
Roman
that's
Empire.
true. I'm fucking that up big time. But we're gonna go back a second. When you think of, can you think of anything more manly than the Roman Empire and the what the fuck was the name of of their military?
Legionary? That's all I got.
The Legionary. Yeah, it's like the Legion of.
They're legionarius.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
okay.
legionary.
So the Roman.
Spartans.
So the Japanese samurai, the Roman military was the most manly, and it was the epitome of a man because of how savage they were, how they took care of their women, how we expanded and conquered so many things, and I think that's why so many men are in business, because you want to conquer things, you want to go expand and grow, and then the second part to it and why they were the epitome of a man was they had class and character and honor and pride, and they did things the way they were supposed to be done. They weren't just savage barbarians like.
Well, compared to now's times, they kind of.
Well,
were.
of course they killed. Don't get it twisted. They killed, but the way their military was constructed, the way they did warfare was so meticulous and so perfect. The world had never seen anything like that war.
We still use a lot of what they used to use back then, like the Julian calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Like they helped to structure the world to be what it is today.
Well, the question though was not that. The question you just asked me was, why do you think?
Right.
So
what
many
makes
men
you think about them? Yeah.
think about it?
Well, I'm just saying that's probably why a lot of people think.
How often do you think about it?
Probably 3 to 4 times a month. So like at least once
Once a week.
Because it always comes up for me when I'm thinking about like physically, I want to be a warrior, right? Like I want to go to the gym and work out. Whenever I think about that, I always think about, well, Spartans and, like Roman fucking warriors. Like that, they were the epitome of masculinity and being a male and conquering the world, just like you said. But like, I think that men are always thinking about that because like that could never exist without masculinity. If this was a woman-run world, there would never be a Roman Empire. It would like none of that shit would exist.
It's funny. I've heard women say like, "Oh well, it's what's the word?
Patriarchal.
Yeah, patriarchy. We've never seen a woman civilization and what that would do. I would argue that there's been women civilizations that we just never heard about because they failed.
They stopped
Would you
talking
agree?
to us.
Do you think, no, but seriously, do you think that there was ever a woman-led society?
No, I don't think it. No, I don't think there ever was.
I think there was, and we just don't know about it.
When?
We don't know about it because it never made it
Yeah.
through the books.
Well, they were so good we didn't remember their names.
So if I want you guys to comment, if you're watching this, comment and tell me when you think of the word Roman Empire or the phrase, what do you think about? What is the first thought that comes to your mind? And why do you think that us men think about it so often? And obviously, there's the trend going on all over social media about this. And women are just now realizing that men is a lot of what we think about is the same shit. We're pretty much all connected.
I think there's another
We
big
think-
reason. It's like, do you remember growing up when they taught us about this in school? And then all those movies were released, like Troy, and I still think that might be Greek history. But
Greek.
I think,
Gladiator.
and please comment. I think when we think about Greece and Roman Empire, we just coagulate
Yes,
it all
me
together.
too.
It's all the fucking same thing with like a twist on it. It's like two dimensions that were right next to each other in the fucking Mediterranean.
Like the gods.
Yeah, the gods, they all have like the
Poseidon
same
and
gods with a
Neptune, same
different
thing.
iteration. Right. It's so weird. But I think another reason that we think about it is because like when I grew up, that had such a large impression on me. First of all, I learned about it in school. And then like a week later, 300 came out and Troy and all those big blockbuster movies. And I'm a 14-year-old boy on a wrestling team, which was wrestling was one of those fucking Roman sports. I think it's Greco-Roman wrestling, right? Which is like, what Greco, is that Greek? Whatever. Either way.
Same thing.
Right. So either way, the point is it's like that had such an impression on who I became as a person. Like I consider myself to be a warrior. And that's who I think we, for the most part, speak to in this podcast is the warrior class in business and survivorship. So
Well, listen, I don't think, let me take that back.
take it back.
The world today is so depressed. Men today are so depressed and have so much anxiety because we don't know what we really should be doing.
Liberal
we
men.
think, yeah, but I'm just saying men as a whole. There's a whole
In general, yeah. Okay.
the general populace of man is lost.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
There's very few men, and the ones that aren't affected by this, but there's very few men that aren't. I think the majority of men, especially weak men, which is who we're talking about, don't really understand where they're supposed to be going. It's because we are meant to fucking conquer things. We always have conquered things, whether there's some people that the 1% that were the ones controlling the conquering. The generals, the emperors, those people who were like the specimens. Those are the CEOs of companies. Those are the UFC fighters like John Jones that just fucking mauls everyone.
Yeah.
Like there's the specimens, but the rest of people below that, the other 80% of men, were the men that followed orders and went out and fucking did the job of conquering and being part of that problem, being part of that. And that's why in business, it's so important to have a vision and a mission, something for people to follow, because that's what people want to do. They want to go make an impact. And back in the day, that was with a sword. Today, it's with words and selling a product or going out and taking care of your family and doing other things. But they want to be part of an expansion. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to go move the earth. They want to go do things. And the problem is so many people today don't have anything that they're conquering, growing towards, working towards. They don't have anything they're prideful of. They're just trying to be fucking happy.
But
or
don't you
trying
think
to get
that's-
by in life.
Don't you think that's by design? Don't you think that the powers that be in this country are doing that to us purposely by using the ESG score to propagate all this homosexuality and murdering the nuclear family and the idea of that? Don't you feel that that's happening to us all purposefully?
Well, I think we can get into that part in a second about what the parallels are between the Roman Empire and America and why we are the way that we are. But I wanted to stay on the topic of just like how we are, how men are, and why we think about it so often.
yeah, because
of that point.
Well, if you notice the trend, it's always men who are, I guess, to a certain degree, it's not like young boys. It's like men who would be part of the warrior class.
Correct.
Who probably always.
That's
think about
when
this
they're
shit.
lost. That's when you start to become depressed and all that shit because you're not part of anything bigger than you. You have that's how men are wired. We need to be part of something bigger than ourselves and be working and expanding towards the next best thing. Working on ourselves, working on some kind of task, some kind of goal, something where you can devote your life to. That's always what fucking people have done.
It's true.
For thousands of years. That's all it ever was. And now our weapons aren't swords anymore or guns. They're usually your words and your connections and your network and how you work and how hard you work and when you get up and all of the things that we can control now. We don't go and fight wars anymore to expand. We go and we build businesses or become part of some kind of movement. So I think my point in that part, before we get into what you just talked about, which is important, but my point in that is like, if you are in the warrior class, you're in that young between 18 and 30, you got to go become part of something that's more than you and that pushes you and that pulls you as well to want to go out and fucking do it. Like, I don't think about depression when I have 100 people that I'm responsible for and I got to go out and grow a business and take care of the business and play defense and play offense and learn skills and read books and run meetings and do sales calls and do everything that I do. I'm part of something bigger. I have pride in it. I don't go home and get depressed. Yeah, I have sad days sometimes, but I'm fucking happy because I'm building something.
Right.
And I want to expand, bro. And it's an addiction. Once you get a little taste of it, you can't stop.
Right.
You know?
And look at all the people who are in our sales force, which is like our army.
Correct.
It's all warrior
It's
class
the same
men.
thing.
Right.
There's no difference.
It is crazy, all the parallels.
There's no difference.
Actually, I am not going to come back to work unless I'm referred to as General Tony. I don't want to be the manager.
Actually, you're just assistant to the regional.
No, I refuse to. I will
Assistant
show up with
to
a spear
the
and a
regional.
fucking shield on Monday, and I will be referred to as
We gotta
General
do
Tony.
that. We
Imagine.
gotta buy a fucking Roman Emperor outfit.
Pug PV! Who are we?
Hoorah! Hoorah! So, all right. Anyway, let's get into. Do you have anything to say about that to end out my point?
No,
Or are you
I
good?
think you nailed it.
Okay. So what you just said, why do you think that is? Do you think it's by design? Well, first, before we go into that, let's talk about the parallels. The similarities between America and the Roman Empire, and why we're really doing this is because I think there's another reason why we think about the Roman Empire so much was because it's so similar to America. It was the greatest civilization ever. They ran 1/5 of the entire world at the time. They expanded. They had all this military. They had all of these things that's so similar to America today. And they were once known as the greatest empire ever, as America is known as the greatest country ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it fell. The Roman Empire fell. So
It
let's
came
talk
into
about
power
some
from
comparisons.
warring,
Mhm.
which we did as well.
Mhm.
You know, we became a huge nation, and we're still in our baby years because of war. Also, you know, obviously they were a largely Christian populated country. So is America.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
Okay, so I got a bunch. First off, they became the most advanced civilization due to Aqua Claudius, which was their canal system that brought 250 million gallons of water.
That sounds like a vaginal disease.
Claudius was the guy who made it the emperor at the time. So
Aqua
he won-
Claudius.
he
It's
wanted
just
to name it.
leaking all the time. I can't get it to stop.
So it gave them fresh water to their town. They built 6-story apartment
Aqueducts?
complexes. No, Aqua Claudius.
That's a
was the name
guy?
of it. No. Claudius was the name of the emperor, and he built a form
Aqueducts.
of correct, an aqueduct, a form of like a water canal to bring water to the town, and then he named it after himself and called it the Aqua Claudius, and then called it the water of
I think
Claudius.
America needs a new aqueduct system because these bitches
I think
out
New
here are
York
so
City.
thirsty. We need to get
So
rid of these
anyway,
heathens.
gave them fresh water to their town, built 6-story apartment buildings, created a sewage system, police force, firefighters, theaters, coliseum, postal service, and temples, and all the things that were extremely advanced at the time. So it became the world's first mega city.
Yeah.
So
They were the beginning of priests.
roads, everything. Like
Yeah.
everything we think about that we do now, everything is mimicked off how
Roman
Rome
Empire.
built cities.
Yeah.
It is the exact same fucking cities, just with newer technologies.
That's why we're still thinking about you, boo. My Roman Empire.
So that's one thing, is how similar the cities were and how we literally still base all of our cities off of that exact same thing. You then have Rome was built on conquest and expansion and war, which was the same with America. That's how we came into power, was conquest, expansion of the United States. We started with whatever the first territory was in the middle of the United States and then grew out.
Louisiana
and then,
Purchase.
Exactly.
That
and
one.
then made all 50 states. You remember that from middle school? Good job.
Thank you, bud.
And then we made 13 colonies and then 50 states. And then obviously we expanded to what America is today. So same thing. Another big thing that's kind of freaky is Rome spent up to 50% of its money on its military. And when you look at how much money U.S. spends on their military compared to other countries, we spend like 30 times the closest second country on our military spending. That's where all of our money goes, to build our military.
We even give it away to other countries who are in war, which I think is a great idea. You know, we got people starving and dying in this country. Why don't we just give our money away to some dumb
I know a lot
fuck
went
country?
to Hawaii too, right?
Ukraine.
$700 per household.
I just want to say this on camera because I don't think I've had a chance to yet. Fuck the Ukraine and fuck you if you support it. We need our money here on our soil. And fuck you again if you support it.
Okay. Rome also, check this one out. Rome spent $2.2 billion a year importing silk and luxury items. You know what that kind of reminds me of? How we spend money on all kinds of stupid ass shit and luxury ass items that we don't fucking need. Sounds a lot like us, doesn't it?
I think our politicians should study what made other empires fall.
Oh, we're going to get into that in a second. This
Okay.
is just all the similarities.
All right,
This
keep
is just
going.
showing you how close they are.
Start banging them off.
And
Go.
like you said, I just gave most of them. And then like you said, it became a Christian society. It was built on Christianity. Same with America. America was built on Christianity. And now we're losing America's losing the it's almost you're mocked if you believe in God today.
I would
you're a Christian-
argue that it has started to turn the other way
You think it's coming back now?
in a big way.
Yeah.
I think people are revolting against all this propaganda bullshit that we're getting that's destroying families, and it's pushing the LGBT or the rest of them. I don't care about LGBT. You're great. The rest of you guys gotta fucking go. The Satanism and the nasty shit we see nowadays, even in the music. Who's that bitch who just made the music video where she's literally a demon? Doja Cat?
Doja Cat, yeah.
Her soul's gone.
Paint the town red.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't even listen to the music anymore. I'm so offended by it now. Shit is crazy. I
And
think
it's
Christians are making a huge comeback in this country.
It's fascinating how we just sweep it under the rug. How it's like nobody.
I think it was for a while, and now I think people are getting sick of it. I keep seeing it online. Like people are turning
Well, you
back.
got to understand. You're also seeing what you want to see. Like I
That's
would
true.
really like to know what if there's been a percentage increase. Of
Oh, I did
people
see
going
a
to
study about
church
it
or
online, and I wish I
Christianity.
remembered what it was, but it was about actually young men in high school becoming conservative and turning to religion.
Well, bro, listen. I think Gen Zs, like millennials, are. I think millennials are a big part of all of those problems. But I think Gen Z is still in this prime riping. Like they're still growing their brains and their thought processes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these big names like Andrew Tate talking about
Right.
believing in God. I know it's Muslim. It's not the same as what we're talking about Christianity, but believing in God, believing in your faith,
He still
going to the
advocates
gym,
for any religion.
do all of
right?
that. Yeah, exactly. You have these big names. Patrick Bet David talks about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a full thing with Graham Stephan on his podcast about it.
think
Zerka
that
talks about Christianity. Even though he's a fucking lunatic,
He's a
he has a
psycho.
bunch of eyeballs and he's talking about Christianity.
Yeah.
So you have these massive names that are now starting to talk about the faith in God and believing in God.
And I think
how it
that
is.
the masculine men that are going to be left after all this indoctrination that's happening in the schools, they are going to turn to those people and they are going to become the leaders of the other population. Hopefully not too many of the kids are fucked up. I heard something today that 25% of the youth or Gen Z now identify as something on that spectrum of letters
bro.
after LGBT.
It's going up like 1,800% or something like that.
insane. It's
Like,
insane.
why?
That's not natural.
All right, we're not going to get all the way into that, but regardless. So let's talk about the fall of Rome. Why did it fall? We talked about the similarities. And let me just name some of these off. And you comment and tell me how many of these do you think America is having the same problem as? Rome fell due to corruption of the government, severe inflation. Whoa. Start that again. Severe inflation, debasement of the currency, which basically means losing faith in the currency, civil wars, destruction of farms,
Oh shit.
Bill Gates, crops, and cities. So destruction of farm.
Crops and cities.
Let me just start
Cities
that
are
from the
being
top.
destroyed.
Destruction of farms, crops, and cities.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. So that's just some of them. That's not
missed
all
one.
of them. What's that?
Remember when Caesar took a direct energy weapon and destroyed Sicily so that they could buy it?
No.
They could buy the property back? You don't remember that? Oh, shit, my bad. That was Maui. My fault. Go on.
So when you listen to those words that I just said and you think about how similar it is to America, it's freakishly scary.
Yeah, it is.
It's freakishly scary. And, you know, you can go down the rabbit hole and I would call you a coincidence theorist, not a conspiracy theorist, which we're not going to go deep down into. But
Damn, I like that.
when you look at all of that, it kind of seems like maybe the powers that be are trying to do the same thing. But let's play the role of they're not, and let's not go down that rabbit hole. What, or actually just give me your answer. What do you think that all stems from? All of those reasons for why Rome fell and why America seems, just maybe, to be going through the same exact things.
Greed of power and control.
Fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's always the same thing, and it's like it's the same story of every major like empire that's ever existed is like the fucking story of the Bible. It has this large grand rising, and then at the end it becomes into the city of Babylon and it's destroyed. And that's what happened then, and I think that's what's happening to our country right now.
Freedom was earned and fought for with blood. And when society hasn't earned it themselves, we start to have all this fucked up shit with power and greed. There's so many different scenarios, but the biggest example is look at all the rich families. And when they give their kids money, what happens? All of them become drug addicts or have issues, or Hunter Biden smokes crack. It's all these crazy things you have because they didn't fight and earn that money. The kids of rich parents who make out okay, you know what they did? They earned it. They weren't given the money. They weren't given the power. They weren't given all of that because we don't know how to handle things we don't earn. And that is a problem today. The last 100 years, or maybe not 100, the last 80 years, none of us know war. None of us know what it took to become free and to have this great state, great country we live in. So we think of it as all these problems, and then it compounds on itself of all the greed, all the corruption, all these things. And like, we don't realize that we cannot be a superpower. It's not set in stone. Like,
Right.
We just think it's going to last because we're America.
Everyone's a little too comfortable.
Way too comfortable because nobody fought for it. Nobody earned it.
Right.
Nobody earned the freedom we have. And people still don't understand. Like, you have the freedom to live where you want in America, to have whatever religion you believe in, to not have a gun, to have all these things. And the more that's taken away, the less freedom we have, the less America we are.
Yeah, that's true. We've all gotten a little too comfortable giving our rights away too.
Yeah. So anyway, the parallels between the two are what we just said, and it seems pretty severe in terms of how many of those are similar to what we have today and what that means for America. Now, am I a doomsayer thinking that within 5 years our life's going to be over and America's going to fall? No, I don't think so. I think we still have plenty of time to turn around and fix it.
I hope
But
so, bro. September 23rd is coming.
It takes things like this. What's September 23rd?
It's supposed to be a bad day.
Oh yeah, whatever. It takes people like us, like you, the people who are watching this, and other big influencers and names to talk about these kind of things. And like, you're just as bad for not speaking about these kind of things as you are for not believing in them. You know, like if you don't speak up and you don't talk about the good that you can do and helping your communities, helping your family, expanding all the things we just talked about in this podcast, and fight back against the corruption, the greed, all the bad problems we have in America, then you are just as bad. You are no more a help than you are hurting.
It's enabling. Not being a part of a solution is being part of the problem. Bar. What?
I thought you were gonna go into more. I thought you had something after
No,
that.
that's it.
I was letting you.
I was
do your
just
thing.
capping off your shit right there, bro.
So, here's one thing I wrote down that I wanted to say as well. The warrior class is the main one being attacked. So warrior class between 18 and 30, 18 and 35, people that have a lot of money or influence or power, those people are the ones being attacked. And the difference is, back in Rome, when you did things like that, they just murdered you.
Yeah.
They literally killed you in the streets.
Oh, I think about that all the
And
time.
now they do the same thing, just in another way. Just like they used to use swords and now they use words. Today, you either get silenced or you get slandered. Those are the two.
Yeah.
You become slandered if you talk about these kind of things and being a man and how you're a toxic man and, oh my God, we need to cancel him and silence him. Or you get slandered, like Andrew Tate.
You get canceled.
You get canceled.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also like a huge war going on in this country, a silent war against masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And they're purposely destroying masculine warrior class because those are the only people who will stand up and take care of the issues that are going on in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving us just enough to silence us, but while still sneaking away everything and taking all the power and control back. But I think something's going to happen soon, and I don't think that's going to continue for very long. There's a couple things going on currently that I think will result in some serious pushback, like the quarantine camps that they're putting up in New York State and the, people fucking with our right to bear arms. I'm sure everyone's seen what happened in New Mexico with that lady who's, I don't even know her fucking name, but she's a disgrace and she should be hung in the streets. You don't even have to go that far back to the Roman Empire. Like, if things that were going on today were going on in 1778, people would be swinging from trees and we'd be celebrating.
Why'd you just pick the year 1778?
Because it was 2 years after this country was founded.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to go all the way back to 130 BC
Yeah.
or AD, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, things have changed drastically in our country, and we need to start going back. We've gone too far in the wrong direction, and I hope things do begin to change because, it gets kind of scary. I got a fucking kid now, and now I got to worry about her being indoctrinated in school, or God forbid these quarantine camps really go up and they start pulling people into them. Like, that's insane. I promise you that if someone comes to my house and tries to take my child or my fiance, no one's leaving that house unless it's in a body bag. I promise you. Like, I'm shooting my way out of that bitch. I hope I don't get arrested for that one. But we need more of that in this fucking country. Like, people need to know.
People
you can't
standing up
fuck
with a
our
fucking
rights.
backbone.
Right.
With a backbone.
Yeah.
We don't have that. So let's talk about some solutions before we end this off. If you agree with a lot of the things we said, and this scares you, and this makes you a little paranoid, and this makes you
Or if
scared
it
to send
fucking
your kid to
pisses
school,
you off.
or it pisses you off and makes you want to fucking kill somebody, then let's talk about what you can do. What is our job as citizens, as everyday people, as people of America, to make this better and do our part?
You need to fight back against the propaganda and deny it, denounce it, number one. You need to be a masculine male. You need to use your right currently to bear arms. Everyone should have their pistol permit, and you should have weapons. Absolutely. These are rights that we were granted. Actually, sorry, we were not granted rights. These are God-given rights that we have because we are American constituents. Like, you need to take advantage of these rights, and we need to protect them and hold on to them because look at history. Every time they took everyone's guns away, all of a sudden people were being fucking herded up like cattle and murdered. Like, this shit is real.
It's crazy. If you look at London, London's the only place, or one of the only places, where cops can't have guns. And look at all the fucking crime there.
It's disgusting.
Look at all the crime going on in London.
They're
and
stabbing
stabbings
people left and right.
because cops can't have guns.
It's
Sorry,
crazy.
but there is evil in the world, and you got to fight it with guns. Anyway,
Yeah.
to repeat some of the things you said, you have to not only fight against what's going on, but like, just don't do what you're told all the time. Go and research it on your own. Don't just do something because
for yourself.
we said it or the news said it or anyone. Go figure out what is right to you and what is wrong to you. You can't just do things anymore because the news says it. You have to do your own research.
People are definitely
We need
waking up to
Democrats.
that.
We need Republicans. We need both sides. You have to go figure out what's right and wrong about them. You don't have to pick one side, but you got to know your answers and your responses and your pushes and pushback. Like, you have to do your own research. People today just pick a side or do something because of one or two people that say to go do it. You got to go find out for yourself what is right and what is wrong, not just doing things because you're told to do them. That's what we've been taught our whole lives to do, and it's fucking wrong.
I also
Number
think,
two.
Sorry, real quick though. I think it's very important that you don't just pick a side, but that you. And I don't even think it should be a side. I don't think it should be Democrat or Republican. Do what the fuck is right, and you need to fight against what you think is wrong.
Correct.
You can't just stick to what you think is good. You need to denounce all the crazy shit that's going on in this country. I don't know fucking anyone who agrees with all this crazy shit that's being propagated on the fucking news all the time, but for some reason, it's still on the fucking news. Like, how are we allowing that shit? Why isn't anybody like standing up and fighting back and like, what is going on? How is it that everyone I talk to in my day to day agrees with most of the shit I say, but then if you go to any large news organization and listen to what they're saying, or magazine or fucking anything like that, they're saying all this crazy shit like it's normal. What is going on, people? We got to speak up. This shit is crazy.
Number two.
Yeah. Number two.
I agree. Number two is what you already kind of said, but you need to be masculine. You need to take care of your physical body. We have, because there's a lack of violence in the world today, because we're so protected, we don't think we need to take care of our bodies and be active and work out and do things that are required to keep us sharp. If you look at the people that are leading this world, they fucking look like mashed potatoes strapped up inside skin. They're these soft fuck. Everyone is overweight, old, fat, and just
But look at the
fucking
people
looks like
protecting them.
shit.
But look at the people protecting them.
Of course.
Standing in front of them with
Of
guns.
course.
They're all
Of
in good
course.
shape.
All the Secret Service are 6'4" fucking men. Badass.
Usually when you realize, oh man, I'm out of shape, I should have done something about this, it's too late.
So
You don't
I
want to
know,
find out in a fight.
I know that there might be one out of you might never get into a fist fight in your life, but knowing that you have the ability to protect yourself allows you to have the confident or the hard conversations with people, because everything is built on an underlying violence. If you are 6'9", 325 pounds, there's a much less likely chance that I'm going to confront you about something you did that I don't like. If I'm a trained MMA fighter, I'm much more likely to confront someone about what I don't like, because I'm not truly scared that they're going to snap my neck. Like, that's the way the world works, whether you like it or not. Everything is built on underlying violence. If you are terrified to speak to somebody, it's probably because you're scared they're going to beat your ass. So, number two, get in some shape, be masculine, do the right things. And the second part to that is, I keep saying be masculine and get into shape, but really masculinity isn't just about physical demeanor. It's about mental demeanor. You need to have emotional intelligence. You need to be able to control yourself. You need to not let your emotions just take you over. You need to be able to think through your own thoughts, make your own decisions, not be persuaded easily, be caring, be loving, and also be able to protect yourself. So a lot of what masculine is the emotional side of it. The physical is what's seen, but really the physical creates that. When I go on my runs and I do my workouts, it creates my character, it creates my love, it creates those things, because now I can show up as the best version of me. Okay?
Bar.
So, and number three.
Real quick, just to cap that, I think people think that being masculine means like, oh, I'm violent and I'm strong and this and that. And like, no, being masculine is having the ability to be a monster, but to control it in yourself.
Anyway, number three is not speaking up about the things that you think are wrong, which kind of went with that one. But like, we need more voices that are good, that are like these guys, Patrick Bet-David, that are like these guys, Andrew Tate, that are like fucking, what's the guy from Fox that just got fired?
He's so good.
Tucker Carlson, that are like Tucker Carlson, that are like Donald Trump, that are like these people that people think they're so extreme because they're propagated in such a crazy way.
They're not.
But when you fucking listen to them, they're just normal people.
Right.
They
They're
say
just
normal
saying
shit.
completely
Another
normal
one,
shit.
RFK. The guy is a normal dude and just works out and is like, hey, look, here's how I take care of my health. Here's how I'm 60-something years old. And he's jacked.
Right.
Don't you think we should listen to him?
Telling people to make rational decisions and work out is radical rhetoric.
Correct. Bro,
Insane.
the answer that we just saw, Donald Trump, when he was asked about war, he's
yeah.
like, I want people to stop dying. And he got slandered.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
They
Well,
asked
that's
him
just
about
because-
war. Who do you want to win the war? And he said, I want people to stop dying. And that was a bad answer on the public side.
Yep.
What's the other guy? Vivek Ramaswamy, another logical, fucking good, normal dude. We need more people like him. When people ask him questions, he is the most respectful. He talks directly to people, doesn't talk down to anybody. He answers with the perfect way of like, I'm gonna make my point to you, but I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm just telling you, this is America. We can talk back and forth, have conversation, blah 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 blah. But anyway,
throw this in here. He might be a plant.
I know. Whatever. It's not the point. We need more people like that are willing to speak up about the problems we have in the world. Because if you don't speak up, it doesn't get fixed. And to compare this back to business, because I know a lot of you watching this own businesses or are in sales, we just listened to a guy, Will Guidara. He was the restaurant owner of 11 Madison Park in New York City, #1 restaurant in the world. And he talks about nonstop 150 times a day, he would compliment or criticize his employees.
Yeah, compliment
all
and criticize.
the time. He is telling people how he feels so that nothing gets dropped. You got to have those tough conversations, even when you don't want to, because they're meant to be had. Because if someone comes in, I just read this in his book. If someone comes in with a wrinkled shirt, and they obviously are a high-end restaurant, and you don't fix it the first day, you don't fix it the second day, you don't fix it the third day, the fifth day, the sixth, whatever. Now you're 10 days in, and you go up to the guy, and you're pissed off because you think that guy doesn't respect you for not wrinkling a shirt. But he just thought he can get away with it because for 10 days, nobody said anything to him. Yeah. And now you think, now there's an issue. Now that conversation is 10 times worse because you waited 10 days, and you're like, hey, Tony, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've done this 10 days in a row. And he's like, well, no one said anything to me. So I thought it was fine. If something was wrong, you should have said something to me.
Right.
And that's what we have today in America a lot. It's just like, let me not say that because I'm going to get canceled.
Say it. I want to get canceled.
Yeah. No, that's what people say.
Oh,
Let me not say things so I don't get canceled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're scared to say things because they don't want to get canceled.
No, fuck that.
When shit
Criticism
happens,
is an investment. Remember that. That was one of my favorite things he said. A criticism is an investment. And it's so true because like you would never criticize someone you don't give a fuck about, like to them. You wouldn't go up to them unless you're trying to hurt their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd never walk up to them and be like, hey man, you know, your shirt's a little wrinkled and you could probably fix your beard. It's a little fucked up. That's you saying, hey, I want you to be better.
Mm-hmm.
People think criticism is such a bad thing. No, it's a building tool. Like you need to criticize others to help them build.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do that here anymore because we're too afraid of hurting feelies.
Well, listen, we wanted to do this episode and wrap it back up into business and how you can look at the Roman Empire and take lessons and learn from it to be a better person today. And then also comment on why we think about the Roman Empire so goddamn much. Yeah. Because
that's when men were men and we weren't afraid to fucking be men.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if we had more of the warrior class now. We wouldn't be fighting about what's a woman and what's a man. We'd be like, shut the fuck up. We're trying to conquer the world. Go fucking do whatever you want with your generals. Nobody gives a fuck. Shut up.
Yep.
We're out here trying to make a fucking better world for our people.
And a great example that just passed, that just happened, of coming together and having synergy and having America fight for one thing altogether was 9/11. After 9/11, people came together. We all fought for one cause. We were real America. Everyone wanted to help out their neighbor. There was no problems for months because it was like, if my neighbor needs something, I want to help him because we are fighting this major cause, a terrorist attack, another country, and they kill our people, and America needs to unite and come together. And that was the last time that America was fucking united. And since then, it has been a constant spiral down of division. And I hope, I really, really pray in my heart that it doesn't take another major tragic event to happen to have to unite again. I hope we can just do it by the people reading history and seeing what happened to the Roman Empire and understanding that We don't want it to happen to us.
I think it's gonna. I think it is gonna happen. I think there's gonna be a revolution of some sort in this country. People are getting fucking sick and tired. The number one song in the world right now is "Rich Men North of Richmond."
Yeah.
That's the number one song, not in America, in the fucking world. Everyone's fed up with this shit. America needs to be the superpower that it was because, we keep the world in line.
Next
And
time,
it's not going to happen with Joe fucking Biden, the retard who can't even form a sentence. I'm pretty sure the guy shits his pants. He's so fucking old. And his criminally organized family trying to run our country into the ground. We got to do something about this. The warrior class would have had these people fucking feet dangling from a tree a long time ago. And I think we need to go back to that. I wish we fucking would. Is that it?
thanks for watching.
Closing thoughts?
The Two Dudes, Three Legs podcast. I already gave my closing thoughts.
Be a warrior.
Check out my Marcus Aurelius tattoo on my leg.
Peace.